Hey guys, it's Cheyenne with Simply Made. I'm actually going to jump on here and I want to show you first off how to do a print to cut image. Now these images that I'm doing, I actually use for my daughter's birthday. I'm not using it to sell to anybody, not using it for anybody other than myself, just for a birthday party. So I'm going to get these images off Google. I do not obviously recommend you doing that if you're going to sell your items. There's copyright issues, things like that. But here's how we're going to do it. So when I do a print to cut image, I like to open my blade. I like to check to make sure in the blade housing that there's no vinyl or anything from another. I know it's kind of hard to see, but there's nothing in there. If there was, I would just take it off. And then I like to make sure that my machine is set to paper. Sometimes I do less than paper if it cuts too bad into my mat. I like to use the blue one because the paper sticks well enough to cut, but it doesn't stick too bad to where it'll like rip the paper if you try to take it off. So these are the images we're going to try to do. So I will show you how to get the image off Google. Okay, so I am on my design space. I already have this uploaded into my design space. So basically what I did is I went to Google and I searched. So I believe it was this image. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna right click on the image and it's gonna open up all of these. What I do is save image as. I also like to do it on my desktop where it shows right there. Desktop, so then that is going to be on your main screen, and then you can save it as sky. Okay, and then it'll automatically save it as JPEG or whatever it is. So then you go over here and you click save. So then I go over to design space. You would go to the upload tab. And right here you can see that's what you downloaded. See, I already have all these downloaded in there. So I will just show you. You go here. You go to upload an image up here. Click on it. Then you'll go to browse. Then you'll go to your desktop and you'll find sky. Ooh, I'm in the wrong. Pardon that. Okay, you will go to sky right here, the image. You'll say open. Okay, so there's sky. And then you'll select the image type. I guess moderate. Maybe complex. Okay, so if you saw when I clicked moderate, it kind of made it all like blocky. So complex made it a little better. So I'll choose that one. And I'll come over here and say continue. Okay, so there she is. She's a little small. So I'm going to go up here to the zoom in tab. That's going to make her a little bigger. So I will use this wand over here and I will just click around her and right in here there's a spot that I want that cut out as well. Okay, so she looks good. You can do a preview and that's how she's going to be cut out. Okay, so hide preview, it'll go back. So we'll go over here to continue. Okay, so normally on a normal image you would want to save it here as a cut, but I actually want to save it as a print to cut. And print to cut, you always know it will be a print to cut image rather than just a plain cut image because it'll have color. Okay, so I will save it as a print to cut. It has the name that you had the image saved as. You can add more tags so it's easier to find, and then I'm just going to click save. And right down there it showed you that it was print to cut. So you click on the image to put it in your design space. You click on it. And then you'll just say over here, insert image. And click on it and it'll bring you onto your canvas. Okay, so there it would be. Right here, you can decide up here at the height and width what you would want it to be. I already have it what I want it to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and click make it. Okay, so it is gonna go ahead and bring it up. It is kind of big, so it will show the whole thing. So let me show you how to print it. So right here it says print to cut. You make sure your material size is always going to be the size of paper, and if it is too big, bigger than like a normal sheet of paper, which is 8.5 by 11, it'll tell you it can only be a certain height and width and things like that. So let's go ahead and say continue. It'll say send to printer, and so you would want to do that. And my printer is this MX490 series. So you can make as many copies as you want, and you always want to make the bleed on, which means if you click here the information, it extends the ink slightly beyond the border of the image to eliminate white margin once the image is cut. So just to make sure all of it is cut. So we will say print. All right. So your machine, your Cricut machine, is going to be blinking as to load in your image, but your image has to print. So my black ink is running a little low, so the black border around here kind of isn't as dark as it probably should be. But this is how the colored image is printing out. So we will see how it cuts. Alright, so that's it printed out. Okay, so I have an old print to cut image. This is what the black border should look like. But since my black ink is running low, it's a little odd. And if you can tell, the dog doesn't look as great since my black is running low, but that's fine. We'll make it work. So with your mat, you will take your image, and I try to line it up on the corners as easily as possible. Okay, so once you have it aligned, put it in your Cricut machine, press your load button. Alright, so you go ahead, everything is already set up for this image. It is set to paper, it's loaded, and then it says press go. So here's what it means: it is set to paper. My dial box, or my turn, or whatever it's called, is set to paper. I don't know how good it's going to be because my black lines aren't that great, but we'll press cut. And there's going to be a little light on here, and it's actually going to scan, you see that? It's going to scan the border and kind of where the cut line should be. And I know it's having a hard time because of the black line. It's gonna be a little difficult. See, oh, it cannot read it because of the sensor mark. So basically, I'll press cancel, and I know it's because of the black lines. So since it did that, I'm not gonna cut my image because I already obviously have one like this. I have a ton ready for the birthday. So it will cut out that image, and that way it will come out like this, and you will have your print to cut image. I have it on just a regular piece of paper, and I'm going to tape it to a wall, so it's not that big of a deal. If you want it any thicker, you can set it to, you can put cardstock in your printer, but you can't have an image that is 12 by 12 for your entire square, because your printer will only print on 8.5 by 11 or something that is 8.5 wide because of, you know, your printer settings, unless you have a big one, you can cut any bigger, but 8.5 by 11 is probably the biggest you can cut. And if you cut on cardstock, just make sure you change your dialog box over here to cardstock so that it cuts the right depth into it, so that it cuts all the way through. So like I said, I got this image off Google. You can use any images that are already on your desktop or whatever to print to cut. Just make sure you upload it to your design space as a print to cut image instead of just a cut image, and then you will be able to do that. It'll make sure that your printer is synced to your computer. It can also be synced through Wi-Fi. That works as well. Make sure that you have your turn box on your Cricut machine turned to the correct setting so that it doesn't dig too deep or it cuts all the way through. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like the video if you think I did great. And if you would like to subscribe to my channel, I would love that. Thanks.